3, 2. Come on, YouTube. Man, it's doing the same thing.
Mine just ended on YouTube.
What did?
Mine just shut out on YouTube. It was still playing. Now it's gone. So try it again.
There should be a new one. It says 22 people watching live right now. So
I'm looking at it, bro. It's still, I guess we can hear. Just put it that way. People can hear you, bro. It's just gonna show your
so you just can't, people can't see
talking, basically. But they can hear.
now. Can you see?
Nah.
Did it show up now?
It ain't working, bro.
It's still not working?
I mean, we can hear, bro. We can hear.
All
it's just that it ain't gonna be moving, that's all.
All right, everybody. So welcome to another Q&A. I know a lot of people, the reason I hold these because I can't get to everybody's questions, you know, all at once. I get them from everywhere, Patreon, emails, excuse me, emails, and from just comments, from the comments on the YouTube. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. So remember, if you have a question, you go down to the more, where it says more down there, and you can raise your hand. I think it's the more. Oh no, excuse me, it's reactions. And then you can raise your hand, sorry. So you click on reactions, you raise your hand. You have a question. All right, so who has the first question? Who wants to throw the first bomb? Samuel. What's up, brother?
Yes. My first question is, so I've been, I watched some of your previous videos. My first question is, what books do you recommend for like numerology?
For numerology,
I've seen on that the Dr. G show that you was on, like the first time, you had recommended a book, Ancient Symbols. And,
Sacred Symbols. No, wait. Hold on. Damn, it's like right here. Where is it? Well, the first book is called Your Days Are Numbered. Man, I can't find my second book right now. That's but it's actually, you probably wouldn't be able to find it. It's so old. But it's called Sacred. Man, I can't find it right now, bro.
Wasn't it Sacred Symbols of the Ancients?
No, that's for the card. That's astrology for the cards. So Sacred Symbols of the Ancients. If you can find that's another book that that's kind of out of print, that is hard to find. But no, so this one was like sacred. Man, I can't remember. It's like sacred numbers, but it was something about sacred numbers, but I can't remember the actual book. Man, I'm so mad that I can't remember that book right now. Sorry, brother, but the one of the main ones is definitely Your Days Are Numbered. That's one of the ones I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cam, was it occult geometry and sacred numbers?
No. That's something else. Damn. Can't find it. Damn. Not even. What I did with it? No, that's not it. It was called like Sacred. It was an old book though. Like I said, this book was really old. Sorry, man. I can't remember. I can't find it.
Okay, I guess that was a good first question for you then.
That was, but then I usually have those books literally like right next to my, but I can't find it right now.
Now it's all good if you remember. Just shout it out. Thanks.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Mel. OPU.
Yeah. I don't know if you read the case, but I was wondering, does the Graham v. Connor case in any way usurp the Garner v. Tennessee case?
Man. What do you think I remember those right off the bat?
Graham v. Connor, 1989, and then Gardner v. Tennessee is 1985.
And they deal, see, I don't know what I don't know right off the hand what they deal with.
Okay, the Garner case deals with when a suspect is fleeing, a cop can't use deadly force if he knows that the suspect that's fleeing doesn't have a gun or is threatening his life or anyone else's life.
Right.
And Connor is excessive force is going to be looked at on a case-by-case basis.
What's the years on the case? Are they both Supreme Court?
Both of them are SCOTUS cases. Garner was the one that was ruled on in 85. Connor came 4 years later in 89.
So unless usually when a case that comes after and it deals with the same law, like you were sort of like the same case law or the same doctrine of law, it'll only overrule the case if it says that it overruled that case. Like, so if you go read the case and it says like at the bottom of the case, if you go read one case, the case that came before that, and then it says overruled, it'll show you if it's overruled at the bottom.
Okay.
And so, but if it hasn't been overruled, some cases can be weakened by other cases. So like,
Krause,
Delaware versus Krause, which was probable cause. The police needed probable cause in order to pull you over. Then Wren versus United States weakened it with just reasonable suspicion. So, but like I said, it doesn't, it'll have to say overrule. It didn't overrule it. It just weakened it.
All right. Okay. So it didn't say that it overruled it, but in my reading it, I know that it just seemed like they said excessive force and Graham, and I was like, well, can deadly force be considered excessive force? Because it kind of is, but it really isn't.
Well, no, because you have to, some places they have to, in law, you have to see what is deemed deadly force. Because in some places, using a taser is considered deadly force, whereas other places it's not.
Okay.
So, that's, you have to see what your state law says. Because some places, that type of voltage can give somebody a heart attack. That's deemed, life threatening. So, what's called a deadly weapon. So, or deadly force. So usually the law will make a distinction between deadly force and reasonable force. So like in California law, it says the two. Police officers are supposed to use reasonable force when this happens, and then only use deadly force when this happens. So only when your life is in imminent danger, and you can't just subjectively believe that it's in imminent danger. You have to show some type of factual evidence of how your life was in danger. This person made a move towards you or something. It has to be you have to be able to show something physically, something tangible that show that your life is in danger. You just can't, the officer just can't believe because this dude looks thuggish and he may have a gun that his life is in danger. You have to show reason or cause that your life was in imminent danger. So that's California. So usually that's the law with any deadly force. You don't have to show that your life was in imminent danger. But again, all states will vary. So that's the difference.
All right. Thanks for the clarification. That does clear up the murky waters a bit more for me, because just was thinking that it really just usurped it because it came out 4 years later, and I was like, so that's why that happens. But yeah, now I got a better understanding. Appreciate it.
Sure, I would have to read the cases to see, but you should be able to make a determination if the later one weakened the the former one.
Yeah, well, you already had us looking at Graham v. Connor, and when you told us, Graham v. Connor, because I had already looked at it a while back. I went down a rabbit hole and I found Tennessee v. Garner v. Tennessee, and then I found Graham v. Connor, and I was wanting to ask you that, and I did ask you that, but I never get a response. So I figured, well, maybe you hadn't read the first case, so. But I would encourage everybody to just go and just look at that Tennessee v. Gardner case, 1985, and the Graham v. Connor case from 1989, and just look at it because both of them are pretty good cases.
But nobody's going to be if you're in status class, or if you're a law nerd, nobody's going to go read cases just to be reading cases. But it has to be relevant to something that you're doing. But
Right.
If you're in status class or if you're learning the law, then absolutely. But hey, just go read this case. But for sure, man. Again, I've read a lot of most of these cases, but I have so many cases that I read, man. I had to go back and go back over it and pull it back up before I'm able to.
It's impossible to read them all.
I'm
not reading random cases, brother Jace.
All right. How do you say it? Arsbrus?
Yeah, that's me, Osbert.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's going on with you, man? Peace, first and foremost. Peace to everybody. Just had a quick question with status correction. Who all do I put on notice when I'm sending out my affidavits and whatnot?
Well, that's not just something you can learn off the bat. I teach that in the status class, but you would have to know who you're dealing with as a corporation. And so corporations have specific people that you're supposed to talk to. So you're not, your mistake when you're dealing with status or trying to do your status correction is thinking that the government is a government. And so if you're going to treat the government like a government, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get anywhere as far as they let you get. But if you treat them like they actually are, as a corporation, then there's certain rules and and laws that they have to follow that and stipulations that you can get right to the point to it, because it's an artificial person. Their laws and their rights are limited. So you wouldn't send strictly affidavits either. So I don't teach that type. I don't teach just sending this affidavit here. It has to be done within a certain context. And so this is where a lot of people mess up, because they don't understand how the process works as far as doing just the legal system. I go back to this movie all the time, My Cousin Vinny, because it talks about when he was in law school, he said in one of the scenes, she said, didn't you learn? Because he kept getting in trouble when he was going to court because he didn't know how to deal in court. He didn't know the procedure. And so he kept getting in contempt of court. And so then his girl asked him, she said, well, didn't they teach you this stuff in law school? She was like, no, they just teach you precedents. You read precedents and in cases and stuff like that. She's like, but you got to learn the procedural stuff. You got to go to court yourself and learn that stuff. So they don't teach lawyers that. So same thing for cats who are trying to use the law and you're trying to deal with the court system. You have to know how the court works, and you have to follow the format of the court and how they want you to submit paperwork, the rules. Otherwise, they don't have to do something called take cognizance of your paperwork. Meaning cognizance means we don't know what happened. It actually means jurisdiction in legal terms. Cognizance refers to legal jurisdiction, but it means that we don't have to recognize your shit. We don't have to acknowledge you at all if you don't follow our format. so that's why a lot of these brothers, they'll be, when you got I just gave you the paperwork and you didn't do it the right way. Did you give the paperwork to the clerk before you came here? That's the only way that's the true way that the court is bound to see your paperwork, is if you hand it to the clerk first, then it goes to the judge. If you hand your paperwork straight to the judge, they don't have to see it. They may choose to recognize it right then if they want to, but they don't have to. And so a lot of Moors don't know this. A lot of Moors go to court and they get shot down because they don't understand court procedure.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. I'm gonna get in that status class. I can get more in depth, but I sure appreciate you, bro.
Yo. JR, what up?
Man, what up, kid?
What up, bro?
Right, man. It's all good, man. I got a question about what the Lord.
Say what? Your phone breaking up, bro.
Okay, let me fix it. I got a 50. Can you hear me now?
Kinda. Let's just go and see how far we get.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got a question, man. My question is, I'm interested in, beginning doing martial art and incorporating it in my life, health, the strength of mind. And do you have any recommendations or advice on where one could begin or how to get started in martial art?
Wait, how to get started in what?
In martial art.
Oh,
like,
martial arts.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good head.
I heard
Nobody asked me that before. That's the first time I've been asked any question on martial arts.
Yeah, because I heard you mention it before, and like I like health and stuff. Like I like to work out and stuff. Martial arts, got a spiritual aspect to it too.
Well, yeah, it does. But for me, it depends on what you want to do. Are you mute your phone too in the background so it doesn't pick up everything. So it depends on what you want to do and what your goal is. If you're trying to learn for self-defense, then there's certain martial arts that are better than others and get you ready for somebody attacks you on the street, like Muay Thai. Muay Thai to me is probably the best street ready martial arts because you can use hands, knees, elbows. You got so many different types of weapons that you can use as far as your body weapons. MMA, it's newer. It's taking people to the ground. That's really good. That type of stuff is really what's called shoot fighting and grappling. Though that's really good because most fights end up on the ground. They end up on the ground for people who don't know how to use their feet though. So I would tell you for me, I learned boxing first. I learned how to box when I was 10, and so from there, I moved on to Muay Thai, which is, because it's easier. Muay Thai is just basically kickboxing with elbows and knees. So then I moved to that. And then I got spiritual because I was kind of always spiritual. Growing up watching Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, you can't, if you go study Bruce Lee. Anybody in here, you want to get some spiritual knowledge? Go study Bruce Lee, the philosophy of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was really connected to the spirit. So it wasn't all about, his martial arts. So, understanding that and, and the Tao of Jeet Kune Do and all that type of stuff, go read those books because he really is breaking off the universal law. He's just doing it from what unlocked it for him, which was martial arts. So, but go and do that. And then that kind of helped me. Then studying Bruce Lee more helped me to get into the spiritual side of the game. And then I really jumped into it with knowledge. And then it just, the meditation, everything took me to a whole new place. But I would say for your martial arts, it depends on what you like. I like boxing. I like, boxing was really good to me. It was, I love boxing. So that was kind of the thing I took to first. And it's the quicker thing to use when getting ready to fight. So I'm one of those type of cats. I'm about, practicality. If I'm not trying to be doing all these different moves and shit if it don't do anything on the street. So I would say search them out, fill out a few different martial arts, see what feels good to you. Because some stuff, what feels good to me may not feel good to you. So, search around for the different martial arts. But for me, it was Muay Thai and boxing. And, those are, most people though, they think those are violent. But see, I'm a dragon more, so that's what I'm about. So some people may want, some stuff that's not as violent, which is more the wrestling type of stuff. So, it's just search it out, bro.
All right, appreciate that.
Sure.
How do you spell Muay Thai?
Muaythai.
Okay, thank you, man.
Mm-hmm. So Muay Thai is basically when you see MMA, mixed martial arts, that's what they're doing. It's a combination of Muay Thai and grappling, which is shoot ground fighting. That's basically what MMA is today, and that's because it started off with the best fighters being Muay Thai fighters and wrestlers, which was doing jiu-jitsu. And so then they kind of merged the two, and that's where you got now. So jiu-jitsu is not as violent, but you can probably want to start with that because most fights end up on the ground. And so jiu-jitsu is the best martial arts for ground fighting. So if you can get in, you learn locks and holds and how to get out of that type of stuff, that may feel better to you. But for me, boxing, because I'm, boxing is, I like to hit shit. I'm an Aries. So I like to hit stuff. So, all right.
Gracie.
Huh?
No, I'm just saying the Gracie.
Yeah, the Gracie. Yeah, the
I'm
Gracie.
not Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Brother Will McCullough. Or is it McCullough? How you say it?
Big brother.
What up?
I was going through the class, the status classes, and I seen it wasn't the 8. Is the 9 to 8, or is that information that the guys that was in the class at that time just got sent?
You saying the class status class 8?
Yes, sir. Status class 8.
Well, that's the one that YouTube won't let me upload because it's it has somebody. I was using somebody's their video. That's on
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
I was using somebody's video, so YouTube won't let me upload it. I tried to upload it 3 times. They took it down 3 times. But
was there any information that I needed out of that one that I may need to get sent to me?
Well, people keep asking, it is some good information in there. So I'll do something like hold a status class where we'll just watch class 8 and I'll just let it play so y'all can watch it. Because it's a giant file. It's like almost 10 gigabytes. So Google, you can't mail it, you can't email it in Google.
Okay.
So
I think the allodial titles is what the information I think I needed out of that. I was about to purchase a house, but then I seen you said that if I got the deed, I still didn't own the house. I needed to get the allodial title, so I didn't want to buy the house and it still not be my house. So I said I'm gonna take my time on that till I get all my information straight.
Right. Well, whenever you do anything, you contract. If you don't know what your rights are within that contract, that's why you put all rights reserved or without prejudice. So without prejudice,
so then I can always go back.
You can always go back. Now, having said that, if you put all rights reserved on the contract, they may be like, we don't want to do it. They be like, you know what? We good. It's happened quite a few times when people put all rights reserved on their paperwork and it goes past someone who actually knows what it means. So, but what you probably want to do is put without prejudice, because that means all rights reserved in code. So that's actually why they made it like that. So, you can use all rights reserved without people knowing that you're reserving your rights. So without prejudice, get it right on across there. If they ask you what that means, just a lot of people, when I use it, they think being prejudiced is a bad thing. So I'll tell them, I hold no prejudice against the people in this within the contract.
Okay. Just let them know that I just hold no prejudice against nobody that this has dealings.
Right within this contract.
Sale.
Yep, that's it. They don't know what the hell that means. They think prejudice is a bad thing. So they don't know you mean you're reserving your rights. So
it's an auction sale too. I had heard you say something about buying property off the auction. So I seen a couple properties in South Florida that was going for 30,000, and it goes so quick. Like you have to do the paperwork within 2 days. You own it, so they might not even get a chance to see the without prejudice. It might just pass through without me having to worry about any kind of encumbrance.
It might, but some legal people are looking over them paperwork. I mean, usually, but you know, sometimes they may just have, they may have legal departments that just, because it runs on automatic and they, you know, no one really knows to sign your name, all rights reserved. That's not some common knowledge. So really 99% of the people who sign their names on contracts don't know anything about that. I would say even, let's say it's more than that, like 99.5% of the people who sign contracts in the world have no idea to reserve their rights, you know, when signing a contract. So, you know, you can pretty much get over with a lot of people because they don't even know what it means. Even when you put all rights reserved, they be like, why are you putting that? What does that mean? And so
it's just an extra last name. It's just an extra last name.
I used to tell them, my uncle's a lawyer, and he told me to put it whenever I sign my name. I don't know what it means.
so it makes it seem like you're ignorant to the fact. You're just following directions.
Exactly. I don't know what it means either, man. My uncle told me to do it, so I'm just doing it. They be like, "Oh, really? Okay, well, you know." And they don't hassle you. They don't come back and really hassle you about it.
Okay. I damn sure appreciate that, big brother.
So, all right, we got 20-something people in here. Give me another question. Stop playing. Are y'all coming here just to listen? Nobody got no questions?
So I got a question. So what would you think that was the top 3 focuses that everyone should be working on in terms of whether it's a business, whether it's on law, or whether it's on learning some new skill? What would you rank as important?
Which would I rank as important? I don't think any of these are more important than the other, maybe except learning the law. Learning the law is probably gonna be my number one. And that's because it's kind of like knowing the law is kind of like telling somebody who lived in the desert about Hawaii. Like if you who literally lived their whole lives in the desert, grew up in the desert, never been beyond a sand pile, never been beyond one, then you be like, man, you know what? There's a place called Hawaii. There's waterfalls and the ocean and trees and food and birds, and they be like, get the fuck out of here. They would tell you, get your ass, man, get out of here. Do you see all these damn sand hills, nigga? You tell me it's some other shit called other than these sand hills? Get out of here. So trying to teach people or tell people about the law, how good it is to know the law, how important it is, and how much and how freeing it is to know the law. It's kind of like that, because you don't know, you can't understand until you see it. You got to take that person from the desert. You got to fly his ass all the way over to Hawaii. Even showing pictures, they be like, "No, what is that?" You got to take them to see it. And so, coming through it and getting on the other side, when you finally truly understand and learn that law, man, it is a whole different world when you know the law. And less than 1% of the people in the world know the law, which is why they feel like they bigger shit than all the rest of y'all. That's why they be like, y'all don't know what the fuck is going on. Y'all don't know shit. Y'all have no idea what's going on around here. Come over here. Do this for me. That's why they treat you like they don't. You don't know anything. But when you finally do know something, I'm telling you, it's a whole different game. Just doing the police stop law classes. When we show those different videos of people asserting their rights. We go back to Big Nick, South Florida accountability, but just all the other audited channels. I use Big Nick because Big Nick is probably the most gangster. And so, he represents the energy of most melanated people, the dragon more, of the brothers who want to fight back and talk shit to the police, but scared to do it because you don't know the law. Well, Big Nick is one who do know the law. And he that dude who gonna talk back to the police. But he can do that because he does know the law. And they can't say anything. And so to see the other side of that, to see where, you know, how police have to act when you make them comply with the law, like they try to make you comply, but nah, nigga, you have to comply with the law. Just like I do, you do too. And I know your rules. And that's where they get off, because they know most people are apathetic and they're not going to even lift a finger to find out the rules that govern the police. When all you got to do is literally download an app today. It's the easiest thing. There's really no excuse not to know the law today. You just, seriously, you just full of shit if you don't want to know the law today. I'm sorry. You with the bullshit. If you see the police out here smacking the crap out of your people, and and it's just you biding your time before it happens to you, and you're not preparing for when it happens, you can't say anything because it's easy as hell. You can Google, literally just type Google laws in my state, and it'll pop right on up. Drive, vehicle codes in my state, or penal code in my state, whatever it is, it'll pop right on up. Even these bond laws, when I sell the bond book, a lot of this bond stuff, you could just, if you understand how to search the bond laws in your state, you can find most of this stuff. But again, people, a lot of people are apathetic, but they get lazy. A lot of people are lazy and don't want to do it. So you're going to pay for it. You pay for being lazy. So, but right now you can't do that. So law is the number one. Finance is literally right there, neck and neck. Learn. These are the two systems that they have been running and controlling you with since the beginning. The law and finance, the law system, the legal system, and the financial system. So when you master those two systems, the game is over. It's over. The law game, really, because there's nothing that they can do to you. Everything that they try to do to you is backed by some type of law. But if you know the law and you know how to counteract everything that they try to do to you, then that's a wrap. That's really being bulletproof. But then having a lot of money to be able to make moves or pay somebody to do what you need them to do, that's also another way of being bulletproof. So they have both of those things going. We have none of them. The information about the stock market and the financial system right now is starting to come around. We're starting to get, it's starting to be out there with channels like Earn Your Leisure and Wall Street Trapper. These are YouTube channels. People check these people out. Wall Street Trapper, the Come Up series with Mark Monroe, Trade and Travel with Terry Igioma. So, a lot of melanated people are starting to learn the game now. They really starting to jump on it. That's really it right there. When you start learning the stock market, there's nothing else. I know you heard about the little kid who made $78,000 selling stock. I know y'all had to hear about that little dude. 13 years old, 78 grand in the stock market. That's just one of his hits. He had been selling stock from 9 years old. He's been playing the stock market since he was 9. He made $1 million from 9 to 13 in the stock market. So if a 9-year-old kid can learn the stock market and make $1 million in 4 years, there is absolutely no goddamn excuse for you not to be doing it. Other than the fact you didn't know it was out there. You had no idea this information was out there. Now it is. Man. Then the other thing is spirituality, your consciousness. None of this means anything if you're at a lower vibrational state, if your consciousness is at a low vibration. So those three things all have to go together. That's the trinity. Law, finance, and consciousness, higher consciousness. Elevate.
Thank you, Kev.
For sure. Wall Street Trapper. That's the dude. All right, next question.
Bro, KB, that sounds like a t-shirt.
What?
What you just said.
What I
Law,
just
finance.
said? Oh,
That sounds like a t-shirt.
It could be. TD.
I want partial credit for that.
25 cents is on his way, baby.
Hey.
TD. What up, bro?
Hey, what's up, Kevin? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you feeling, man?
It's good. I'm doing good, man. I just have one question, but also have a comment too. I kind of chimed in on Dr. G when he was doing a live stream this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you did a great job, man. It's just unfortunate, man. We have so many people willing to push back on learning the law. When you talk about Dante, his name Dante White, the young kid who got shot, and he was giving, saying, there are things that, of course, they shouldn't have pulled them over, but definitely.
Wait a minute. I'm at a loss because were people talking shit? Because I don't read the comments. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I
don't care what you think. So I have no idea what somebody said. So what if they were talking shit? Okay.
Dude. I'm like, man, what the fuck is up? Excuse me. But I was like, this is crazy. But that's what you come up against. That's what people come up against when you try to give them a new way of seeing things, a new view of it, maybe a conscious elevation of it, but great job anyway, though, brother. So the question is, you got it. The question is, I'm driving if you're hearing noise. The question is, I was doing the status law questions. I kind of got stumped on one, and I just want to ask the question about it. It's a way to find out that America is a corporation. Of course, we can go to Delaware site and pull that up. The other aspect of it, I was trying to find the second part, and my guess is that is the UCC, United States Commercial Codes, is maybe another way of finding out that America is a corporation. That's my question.
Not necessarily in the commercial codes. You're not going to find it. You're not going to find anything that says United States of America is a corporation.
Okay.
You're going to find it in like right there. That's the best way. The Delaware. That's hands down the smoking gun. But excuse me. They also say in what is it? Title 28, Section 3. What is it? Section 3002. I think subsection 5A.
Okay.
And it says the United States is a federal corporation.
3002 15A.
15A. What'd I say? 5A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so 15A.
All right.
So that's where it says United States is a federal corporation. So whenever you trying to make a case or challenge anyone, not just the United States, whenever you're trying to challenge anyone in the law, what you're trying to do is pack your gun with as much bullets as possible. So that the dude can, or woman, whoever can't dodge all the bullets. You may be able to dodge this bullet and that one and this one and that one, but you ain't gonna miss this one. This one ain't gonna miss you. So you want to, dealing with United States, you want to throw as many bullets at them as possible. So, oh yeah, it says you're a corporation here in Delaware. You state that you're a corporation here. The Incorporation Act of 1871 states that you're a corporation. So you started to add up all the different things that state that they're a corporation. So all of these things state that you're a corporation, but you're not. You were incorporated in 1871. You did how many corporations? Delaware Incorporated. There's literally like hundreds of government corporations in Delaware. They incorporated pretty much every aspect of the government is incorporated because they have to do that because they're not a government. So they also do that because they try and make each aspect of the government run itself so that they don't have to pay for it, which shows you that your taxes don't run shit. Your taxes go to pay off the debt by the Federal Reserve. So that just lets you know right there, like the corporate, every part of the federal government is incorporated, which means it runs itself. It makes its own money. So, but just find as many times, as many places that they say that they're a corporation as possible, and then you want to throw that in your paperwork.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
For sure, bro. B, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna basically piggyback off. I was thinking what he said about you were talking about people need to, what they should start to learn with. So for a person who's trying to start, when it comes to the law, right? If I have no experience in this field, right, and I'm not really good at, study, how would I go by? Like, should I worry about learning, like getting a Black's Law Dictionary, learning about the definition first, or should I be trying to like learn the laws first? And how much time, if I only have the X amount of time, how much do you think a person can do, like 30 minutes, or should they do an hour a day? If a person is starting, they just trying to get started, what would you tell that person to start off with, and how much time they should? If they only got 30 minutes, is that good enough, or should they spend an hour?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're focused, the whole point is how aware you are, how present are you when you're studying. That's the most important thing. You can sit somewhere you can sit and look at a book for 3 hours, and your mind can be wandering for the whole 3 hours. You ain't learn shit. So it doesn't matter. It's about you and your focus. How present are you when you're reading the information? And then if you don't get something, how diligent are you at wanting to know it? So a lot of people don't just, a lot of people, what they do is they read and they'll see a word they don't understand, and they'll keep going, which means you didn't understand that word. You're not going to understand, you're not going to comprehend the full aspect of this sentence or this paragraph or just the context of what's trying to be said, because you just missed out on this right here. So even though if you may get the gist of it, you're still not going to get the full nuance of what's being said, because you don't understand this word. So, get in the habit of looking up words that you don't understand. That's that's one of the first things. And so you don't try to put a time limit on it. You want to learn the law and you want to master it, and also you have to master universal law as well as physical law. In order for you to truly be a master of law, you got to know both of those, because nothing moves outside universal law. Or excuse me, everything happens in the universal plane, or on the etheric plane, or the energetic plane first, and then it manifests in the physical world. So if you want to understand what's going on, or how to master in the physical world, you have to master what's going on the energetic plane. So those two things go together, and that's why you shouldn't be trying to rush yourself. Everyone has their own their own pace, their own vibration, excuse me, and frequency. And so to try to be like somebody else, so if I say, I learned this law and I learned it in 8 months, and you be like, oh, that nigga learned it in 8 months. Well, shit, let me get down and let me try to learn that shit in 8 months then. And you may not have the tools that I had to learn it in 8 months. You may not have the time, or so you may not have the time, or whatever it is that helped me to learn it that fast. You may not have all of it. So you shouldn't put limitations on yourself. Oh, I got to do it I got to do it at this time. Just allow yourself to receive the frequency. See, information is just a frequency, just like anything else. And so you need to open yourself to it. The more and more you learn, you're tuning yourself to that frequency. And then all of a sudden, at some point, you're going to be a giant amplifier, a giant receiver for that frequency, and you're just going to start pulling that information in. And it's going to happen. You're like, oh shit, I just know all this stuff. And it's going to be so easy. But at the point in time when that happens, it's dependent on the person. So 30 minutes is good enough. 10 minutes is good enough. Like I said, if you're focused, if you're sitting down and you're really into what you're studying, and you blocking everything else out, and you get the full comprehension of what it is you're trying to learn, and you fully comprehend what it is you're trying to learn, then time is time is an illusion. Y'all know that. There's no such thing as time. The only time is now. Future is an illusion. The past is an illusion. They don't exist. So that's what I would say.
Hey, and I read a chapter a day, no more, no less.
See, but it's steady though. Boom, boom, boom. That's a frequency. That's what a frequency is. It's repetition, but it's it's steady repetition. Boom, 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 boom. That's all. It's rhythm, right in the same succession every single time. Bam, bam, bam. It can be once a week, but if you hit it every single time at the same time once a week, you're developing a certain frequency, a certain rhythm. Do it twice. Say it again.
No, I was saying that on top of that, you were talking about, the spirituality aspect. So, what would be, for a person like trying to get started, the first and most important book you said that person needs to have?
You already know. Stop playing.
Man, I'm trying to ask questions that people might have, bro. That's all that was, man.
The Kabbalion. That's the
Bro, I know it. My point is,
seven principles. I mean, people watching they should know. Anybody who's not watching the Kabbalion is that's the law book, the universal law book. And so the seven immutable principles, the 7 laws of the universe that you need to know here. There are more laws than that, but the 7 most important laws that we need to know here. And and if you master those, you master the physical plane. You can master this life. Just like any other law. Like you master the laws, that means you're mastering on which way to go, which way to move. So that means you'll never crash into shit if you always know where to move. It's like surfing. Surfing through, like being a silver surfer. You'll never crash into anything. You always know when an obstruction is coming. You can move around this, and when you can duck up under this, you can go over that. You'll never, nothing will ever get in your way because you'll know what to do at every single point in time. So, Kabbalion, numero uno. So, Mel.
Yeah. All right. Here's a law. And there's a specific reason I'm asking this question. What's the difference between acquiescence and tacit consent?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay. I just want to be sure because I know a lot of times when you ask questions and the answer I give is acquiescence, you'll say and I'm like,
well, yeah, if you go in the dictionary, they have they're not the exact same different definition, but extremely similar. So like 90-something% the same. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? Tacit, because acquiescence means to really say nothing, is really to do nothing.
Right.
But to tacitly consent can also mean that you did something very little. It doesn't necessarily mean you didn't do anything.
Okay, so it just basically means tacit is more or less inferred silence.
Yeah, implied. It can be like implied.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. That clears it up. Yep.
When you acquiesce, you didn't do anything.
Okay.
he was literally just like, all right, there was no response for or against. That absolutely completely gone.
All right.
So tacitly consent kind of implies imply your consent. It can be by non-action, by a look, anything, that they can kind of deem as your consent. But acquiescence just means I ain't do shit. There was absolutely nothing done.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, throw me another one, y'all. There's a whole lot of people in here. Stop playing. Come on, y'all. Where's the questions? Now, I know all y'all in here who've been watching, y'all have some questions. Don't be scared. Stop being scared to talk. You can't be scared to talk. you never going. You can't elevate your conscience if you're scared to ask questions. So who was that?
Another question.
Okay. Who was that?
Samuel.
Go ahead.
All right. So quick question. So how do I get a deck of those cards or the flashcards? I already have the other cards that you sent us, the laminated ones, how do I go about getting a deck of those flashcards of the stop law?
They're on the website. You just go and order them.
Okay.
Yeah. All the stuff is on the website. I didn't have it at first because I didn't have the batch. I didn't have the actual the makeup order, because the first order I got, they didn't package them right. So that's why I was giving those away in the police. I mean, when you order the melanin book, I was giving those away. But now I got the real batch that are all packaged and ready to be sold. So yeah, you can just go. Anybody who wants the police stop flashcards, you can just go to the website and get them.
Okay, thank you.
And anybody who's buying, anybody who gets those cards, man, if you got kids, please, 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 please teach this to your kids. Man, what a 15-year-old, knowing the law and who's able to articulate their rights, the defense of their rights, without getting upset, without fear, with confidence in their voice in front of a police officer. And if you get that on camera, do you understand how far that will go to showing other little kids and little melanated, brothers and sisters in the hood or just everywhere, that you can do this. It's not you can do it. It's going to take you some discipline and dedication to do it, but it's even easier now because I know a lot of the laws and information were spread out. So with these flashcards, they've all come. I brought it all into the same thing. Now you just got to sit your ass down and just read them. Make it, like I said, make a game of it. Do whatever you got to do to make it fun. But man, the young ones have to know this stuff. Will I am.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. So I'm pretty new to getting the information, and I know it's a lot online, different, cards and classes and so forth. And I just wanted to know where to get started with the law portion, especially where it concerns the status change. I do have a business and a child, and I just wanted to make sure that, and this is my third so-called country, so I wanted to make sure,
Are you an immigrant?
Yes. I was born in Canada, raised in Jamaica, and then I came to this country about 20 years ago.
Okay. So as far as status change, now it can go different ways. So if you're an immigrant, you're under contract. You're in the 14th Amendment contract with the United States. And so you don't have any indigenous connection to the North America here, this portion of North America.
Right.
But there's also something called being adopted into nations as well. So nations, Aboriginal nations used to do this all the time. They still do it. Anyone can join an Aboriginal nation. You don't have to be blood. As a matter of fact, the Cherokee Supreme Court just ruled this came from the Dawes Roll thing all the way back when you wanted to prove your Aboriginal connection, your ancestry, you had to be on this Dawes Roll. Basically, it was you're a $5 Indian. Anybody who had $5 back then could pay to get on this roll. But it was supposed to be by blood. It was supposed to be, this was your blood connection to the Native Americans, quote unquote Native Americans. So the Cherokee just wiped away with that. They just did away with that Dawes Roll. So basically anybody who claims that they're Cherokee, you can go claim that you're a Cherokee if you take up the the rituals and the status and all that type of stuff. You can do that. So I only said that to say your status, no one can tell you who you are and what you connect with. So, and I'll use this as an example. They'll try to say that, a woman can identify as a man or vice versa, right? But then those things you can't do those things in anywhere else. No, you can. They just don't tell you can. So melanated people, you can call yourself, since 1960, melanated people or black, quote unquote, black people in America can call yourself white legally. There's nothing stopping from melanated people from calling themselves white, other than the fact that you think it's some type of pride coat to wear to call yourself black. It's some type of it's some type of championship belt, but it isn't. And so you can do that. So even with the Aboriginals, the burden of proof or to disprove what you're claiming, your identity, would be on the person who's challenging it, not you. This is who I identify with. This is who I am. This is who I identify with. This is what I am. So if you wanted to do a status change as far as that and become an honorary member or adopted into a nation, you can actually do that, or absolutely do that. You in your country, you're going to have much more power within your country because you're going to be connected to the Aboriginals or the indigenous there. So, but you can do both. You can claim whatever status you want. You just have to make sure you stick to that status. It says it in the House Congressional Resolution 331. It says self-identity will be one of the determining factors, of dealing with the Native Americans. So basically it said self-identification individually and as a group. So basically, as a group, if we all wanted to call ourselves, Cherokee Nation of Southern California, we could do that, or whatever it is. Again, it's you, yourself. Your identity is determined on you. I can't tell you who you are. Only you can tell me who you are. So it would work in that way. But I would say, being in America, police stop law is probably the quickest thing you want to learn, is the most prevalent or the most important thing to learn is police stop law. As you can see, within this last week, all this stuff that happened, the little 13-year-old kid got shot with his hands up. Dante Wright. We see the film of the police lieutenant, the police lieutenant at the gas station. I mean, some other stuff happened too. I'm forgetting something. Something else happened with the popo. So just as far as that, because that's the first line of defense right there, is the police rolling up on you. Status is going to take some time for you to learn. That's going to, you have to kind of grow into understanding who that is and then embody that energy. So that's going to take a minute. You just don't read some paperwork and then read some words and then you become that. You have to embody that. But police stop law, it will save your ass right now. That'll save you immediately. And so I would say learn both at the same time, but if you had to learn one before the other, definitely police stop law first.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, McCullough.
Hey, Kevin.
Yo. Oh.
Yeah, this is TD. All right. The question is, you were talking about the status. How important is that as far as the VC? Being able to avoid that. I mean, we can, in time for that.
Well, that's all important to the VC. You can only avoid the VC if you're out of jurisdiction. Now they're claiming that they're not going to force people to do it. The World Health Organization came out and said, we're not going to force passports, and we're not going to do that. We don't think we should be able to do that. And the reason they can't do that is because most people don't want to take the vaccine. Like, only 100 million people have taken vaccine, and you got close to 500 million people in America. So that means most everybody ain't taking it. So if you try to shut down the country because people aren't taking the vaccine, you're going to literally shut down the country. Like, you can't fly here, you can't fly there. Well, that means the country's going to be shut down again because ain't nobody taking it. So, that means, you know, in the public, you have some time. They're not forcing it. They're not forcing it down the public's throat at the moment. They're trying to see what's going on. So you don't, it's not, you know, it's not super important to get the vaccine, to get a vaccine, your vaccine, Aboriginal vaccine exemption right now. But definitely be on it, because it's probably coming. It's probably coming. This is the new war on terror. And they're going to be, every single year is going to be a new strain of this and a new strain of that. You know, just like there was a new cell of, you know, it was a new cell of Al Qaeda over here, and then there's a new cell of ISIS over here, and there's a new cell of these niggas over here, and all this type of shit. So it's going to be a new mutation.
It'd be funny.
What you say?
It'd be funny though, because I was listening to the radio the other day, and the advertisements on there they make it have some very nice, soothing music, make you sound smart, talking about getting a vaccine and whatnot. It's
now,
funny
remember,
how
we're
much
live.
work they're putting into that.
Everybody, remember we're live on YouTube, so don't just be don't say no craziness. That's gonna get my channel taken down. But
my bad.
No, you can say the words as long as you're not talking bad about it, or, you know, trying to, what they call false information. As long, you know, factual information about it is fine. But
I was just talking about the advertisements on the radio about it.
no, they're trying to get you to do it too. It's tested. It's come on, grandma. It's tested and it works. That's what this little kid is. Come on, grandma, you gotta get it. And like, what? Well, why in the hell did they just recall the J&J one? Like three states shut it down, and they was like, you know what? We just gonna recall this. Like, we forget all of this. And so they don't, and because they said what, 6 people? They had 6 people had adverse reactions, but you don't shut down. If 70 million people took it and only 6 people had an adverse reaction, you wouldn't shut down the whole program for that. You wouldn't shut down the whole program for 6 people out of 70 million. So that's some bull. But yeah, you guys got some time. I would definitely say be on it. Make sure you're learning, make sure you're working to get your status changed, but it's not the most important thing right now. Like the most important thing is you learning how to deal with the police, because even if they start to implement these laws, you know, for people who don't get the VC, who you think they're gonna get to come after you for it? The popo. So there's still, you got to deal with them at some point in time. Whenever the shit goes down, you got to deal with them first. Whether they come to get you, to take you to the courthouse, or take you to jail, or whatever it is, you got to deal with them. So, you know, having power over the police is the most important thing that for me. I went the other way. I learned status law. I kind of learned it first, and then kind of fumbling through status law, kind of learned how important the police portion part of it was, because I was just trying to kind of deny, like, or I'm just going to be outside of the system and just work that portion of the law. But then, just seeing if there was one cat that I used to talk to. This was like 20 years ago, and he he didn't know anything about status law. He didn't know anything about what I was doing, but he could bust a police officer. He could bust the police just by knowing their law. And he was like, "Yeah, man." I go in there, and he would go to court. He would go to court, which is something I would never tell you to do. But he would go to court and be smacking them all the time. No lawyer, because he knew the law. It was like where you? He's like, "Oh yeah, I got the penal code book." And that's why I went and bought my penal code book. That's when I got the California penal code book sitting right here. It's a big ass thick book, but I got it because of him. I was like, "What? The laws are like what?" I was like, "Oh yeah, let me go do that." So, getting familiar with with these laws right here, these popo, the Gestapo that's gonna be snatching you up. That's the most important thing. Will McCuller. Is it McCullough?
Yes, sir.
Is it McCullough or McCuller?
It's McCullough.
McCullough. Oh, my bad.
It's all right.
It's all right. You sort of answered both of my questions. The first one was with the status. I remember you saying if you could connect yourself to one of the Indian tribes, then go ahead. But if not, then you could always claim status to the land, and they couldn't deny that.
Right.
The other.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other was the importance between the status and the police stop classes, which you answered as well, because I was probably 95% status class and probably 5% police stop. But it's so much you have to learn for the status. I don't think you realize how many books. Every status class is another 4 books. So I figured I wouldn't have enough time for the police law, but now I see that I have to implement that in my studies as well.
Yeah, no, it's again the status you definitely want to learn. It's the thing you need to learn to take your family out the game, to take you and your family out of the game. But that's a long-term game. So, you know, in dealing with the stock market, you got long-term investment, short-term investments. So the status class is a long-term investment. The police stop law class is your short-term. So you want to be balanced.
Okay.
You want to be balanced in the two. You know, especially since the police law is what affects us the most today.
On a daily basis. We're 9 times out of 10 going to run into them on a daily basis.
Exactly. You know, status stuff is for when you're trying to deal with the government on the back end, you know, for trying to force you to do stuff, which you'll need that. But again, Popo, to me, as you can see, what's been happening. You got to be able to deal with him. If the young brother Dante had just known that even if he had a warrant, they would just took him to the holding tank for a second, processed him, and then he would have had one of those, because there's something called a bail schedule. So most people don't even have to go to arraignment. There's a bail schedule for something as small as that. Bail schedule is set bail for certain infractions. So
I've heard you say that before. I heard you say like everything has a bail. Everything has a bail price.
Sometimes they do, but sometimes if it's not listed, you can go check the court. You can go check your court and check the bail schedule, and it'll give you a list of all the set infractions that bail is set for. You know, certain stuff, because the judge ain't always able to be there to arraign you and set bail. So they have bail set just in case, you know, you did this crime, then pay this amount, you know, you pay this bail and we'll let you go. So that's usually the case when you get ticketed for weed or get a warrant for weed. And so they had arrested him, really gave him a time to appear. But here's the thing, like, so it depends on what it was for. You know, if it's a failure to appear, then you know, it could have been a higher payment because he already missed payment, or they may have tried to hold him. Sometimes they'll try to hold you because they say, "Oh, you didn't appear the first time, so we'll hold you until your court date." But most of the time, they'll set a bail schedule and let you go. So if he had known that, he could have been much calmer at the police stop, knowing that nothing was pretty much was going to happen to him. They were just going to take him down and set bail and let him go. But he didn't know that.
He would have made it home.
Yeah, he would have made it home. He would have made it home. Honestly, he would have made it home if he didn't drive off after he got shot. They would have been able to, because it was only one shot. It was not like they shot him like 1,800 times. They only shot him one time. They would have been able to administer medical aid and save him. They would have been able to stop the bleeding immediately. He bled out. The reason he died is because he bled out. He sped out. He drove off and got about a mile away and bled out in the car. It wasn't like the gunshot was a fatal gunshot wound from the jump. He bled out. So if he didn't speed off, he would have lived.
So he just kept running because he was so scared because he just didn't know nothing.
Right. He didn't know anything. That fear is real. The Popo. Yeah, that melanated people's fear of the Popo was real. They beat it into us back in the early 1900s with bulldozing. So every time we went to go do something with the law or try to vote, they had KKK, they're beating the shit out of niggas. And so eventually that, you know, that gets deep rooted in your psyche. You make the connection of law and ass beating. Those two things go together like peanut butter and jelly. Like, wait, when we try to do some shit with the law, we get our ass beat. And so that's where that comes from today. Our, you know, our apathy for the law comes from it being beat out of us.
It's bled into our DNA. We just don't fuck with it at all.
Yep. But you know, they knew they did that because they knew if you knew that, then you would be able to move. You would know how to you would master everything. If you know how the rules work, nobody
you knew that if everybody knew they was de facto. So y'all de facto. Everybody don't know, they think they real. Y'all de facto. Y'all can't do it there. Okay.
You know, power comes in knowledge, man. So they know that. Knowledge and power go together. So they was like, we can't give these niggas knowledge because they'll get power. So Terry Carroll.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My questions, sir, are excuse me for saying sir. That's just old school.
Nuh-uh, brother.
That's just old school, bro. You know, the old military in me. Also,
you can call me Kev. That's old people call me Kev.
All right. Are you familiar with the Nuremberg Code, sir?
The Nuremberg Code?
Thank you. Yeah, Nuremberg Code.
Nuh-uh.
Okay.
I mean, I know what Nuremberg is, but I don't know what the Nuremberg Code is.
Okay. It's the information being passed around from other Moors. And about Article 6, Section 3, and it's on the website on the Google. I don't want to say nothing to get you in trouble, sir. But
well, is it? I mean, are you talking? As long as you ain't talking about VCs, you talking about that?
It has something to do with it, sir.
Well, I mean, yeah, can you be careful in your wording?
I would say that it under that section, if certain criteria are forced upon the people, that is considered a crime, a war crime.
Oh.
So that's I guess that's a UN.
Not if. Well, first of all, just say you can say that you're not talking about anything. That's just okay. You can say that is, yeah.
All right, leaders should be aware that mandating masks on the citizens of a nation and preventing their access to food, healthcare, transportation, or education if they don't comply is a war crime. Masks or any other medical intervention must remain voluntary. That's the second part.
Oh, so wait,
ahead,
so
sir.
that's what's called the Nuremberg Code. That's in that.
Yeah, the first part is no case shall a collective agreement or the consent of a community leader or any other authority substitute for an individual's informed consent.
Now, where is that issued from? That's from the UN.
I've been trying to find that out, but I'm trying to get. I've been doing the search, and I'm just coming up with the articles I've seen from. It sounds like a UN. I've been getting different dates on this Nuremberg Code.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know where the authority comes from that, where it comes from, all that type of stuff. You know, we ain't dealing with law, man. I don't deal with nothing but actual fact. Where can I go find this up? Where can I go look this up and find it? If I can't find it, in some type of case or state law, then I don't really deal with it.
Case or state law.
These are the only things that's gonna help you now. That type of stuff is not going. That's America can acknowledge some things by the UN and not. A lot of people don't know that America doesn't have to acknowledge everything by the UN.
Okay.
UN is a private corporation, just like everybody, just like the rest of them. United Nations is a private corporation.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Sharif. Sharif, well, brother. See Sharif's hand up.
Yo, what's good, Kev? You can hear me?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. What's up, man?
Good, bro. How you doing, man?
Good, brother. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm chilling. I just wanted to ask a question about how you feel about the crypto, and you think how you feel about like investing in. You think that should be investment, or because I was listening to your thing on YouTube about how you broke down that they just Coinbase IPO and how they seed investment now owns they own. So I was thinking like, would you think would be a smart thing to put your money there?
Well, if your crypto is on the exchange, then seed and company owns it. If you transfer your crypto to a private wallet, then it's yours. So it just depends, you know. So if you're keeping it in the market to make money, it's not yours until you cash out and then put it in your wallet.
All right, because I'm trading on Robinhood. I bought it at 4 cents. That joint went up crazy. I was like,
oh well, you don't own it on Robinhood.
Okay.
So Robinhood, you can't. If you buy crypto on Robinhood, you only get the monetary value. You don't get the actual cryptocurrency. So that's why you shouldn't really buy crypto on Robinhood for anybody.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's not the deal. But but what is it? Webull is probably one of the better ones. Webull and what else? What's the other? Webull and Thinkorswim are probably the two. Probably the two are the better ones.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I got Thinkorswim. I trade on all three. I trade on Webull, Robinhood, and Thinkorswim. I trade on all three.
Okay, well, if you buy crypto on the other ones, then you own it. But if you buy it on Robinhood, you don't.
All right, bet. So cool. All right. Thank you, Kev. Thank you.
For sure. Melly Mel.
All right. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on the states that have either done away with qualified immunity altogether or restricted it in some portion? Because you haven't really spoken on that as of yet, but I was just wondering what your thoughts are on Colorado, New York, and now New Mexico.
Tennessee. Oh no, New Mexico. New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico. That was the third one. That's all that I know of.
I think Tennessee did it too, though.
They did. I hadn't heard about Tennessee doing it. I'll check though.
Yeah, I think they did it too, but I could be mistaken. It could have been Tennessee for something else, but I'm pretty sure it was Tennessee. But I mean, it's just, to me, it's just, it's on its way out. I mean, people are starting to understand and see that, the qualified immunity or having qualified immunity is much more of a publicity, terror than anything else, because these police officers go out there and they do these egregious damn acts and then they get qualified immunity for it. But then the city and the precinct and all that get all the bad publicity behind it. They get and it's not like before where you could do this type of stuff to brothers and they didn't do anything. Every time this shit happens now, there's gonna be some shit burned down. They understand that now. They're like, oh shit, there's no police officer you're gonna be able to no kid, no melanated kid you're gonna be able to kill these days without getting something burnt down. That's just how it's going. And they're like, oh shit, we start threatening that money, and then shit start happening. So the qualified immunity, people are starting to really, look at it, especially now that the Supreme Court ruled against it in November, which I'm sure is helping a lot of these states do away with it, because the Supreme Court has already ruled against it as far as criminal prosecution of your violation of your civil rights. So it's on its way out. And, you know, the more and more we make it, you know, we put the spotlight on it. I think it's gotten a lot of spotlight, especially in the last year or so. The qualified immunity is a lot of people. No one knew what it was like about a year and a half ago, at least even a year ago. Nobody knew what it was. And then, I mean, it just started to, you know, after the George Floyd thing and after all, and people started to hear about it, started to really get out there. So now it's not as foreign of a phrase to most people, qualified immunity, even though they may not understand it fully. It's about to be on its way out. And the thing is, the reason they created it, they didn't create it for police officers. They created it for public officials. So, you know, just, you know, pretty much people who are elected to office. That's really what it was created for. It wasn't created for the popo. And so the popo using it and they're doing all these, you know, they're doing all these crazy, outlandish, egregious acts, you know, under the guise of qualified immunity. And it just makes everybody look bad when they got this. So judges are the ones who implemented it. They don't need it because they have absolute immunity from lawsuits. Use federal judges usually, but a state judge usually has to have a bond. So you can't sue them, but you can get their bond. But you know, it's about to be gone. And like I said, the more and more we put a spotlight on it, the more and more we educate on it, on what it is, you know, it's gonna be out of here.
Okay. I know you had never really talked about it per se, but I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I'm talking about qualified immunity many times, but it doesn't mean too much unless, you know, it means a great deal for those states. But even in those states, most of those people are not going to even, they don't, you don't know the difference. Like most of the times, qualified immunity doesn't prevent someone from suing. Like it's not really a deterrent. Like if the police fuck you off, you're still gonna try to sue them. It's just that the fact that they don't win most of the time. But most people still sue because no one really knows what qualified immunity is until you get to the court, and then the court rules on it. And say, oh, because the prosecutor, I mean not the prosecutor, but the defense attorney for the officer, he knows that he knows to put it in there as the question. It's a qualified immunity question. So you don't never really get around to it till it becomes a case in court. And then at that point, you know, the person who the wrong act was done to, they don't really know what they're talking about. They don't know the law. They don't really know what qualified immunity means. So, you know what I'm saying? It was being able to be used so well, but now, man, it's again, these cities are getting crazy sued behind these police officers now. So they're about to wipe this shit out.
Okay. Yeah, I know you talked about qualified immunity, but specifically them banning qualified immunity in those 3 states altogether, or at some portion of it just partially restricting it to a certain degree. You hadn't actually talked about that, so I was just wondering what your thoughts on that was. But all right, that's good. What's for me?
What up, E?
What's up, Kev?
What up, boy?
So my question is based off of, I got kind of like 2. First of all, my woman, she's an immigrant, and she just got her green card. And so I was wondering, how would you go about that process when it comes to changing their status when they're getting naturalized in the US? And then also, does marriage affect your status as well?
Does marriage to
someone who might be subject to the jurisdiction, who's a 14th Amendment citizen?
No, that wouldn't affect your status. If your paperwork, if your status is changed, that wouldn't affect your status. Your status is your status. That person's status is theirs. You're not, you know, you're not.
I just want to make sure about that.
No, in law, you are you, and she is she. But I would say it's the same thing with as far as immigrants. You know, you can be adopted into any nation if that's what if that's what they wanted. you know, to try to get that status if they wanted to take it that far. Do you know what nation you're claiming?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so whatever nation you're claiming, she could claim that nation. And again, the burden of proof would be on them.
And then what about, hold on a sec.
All right, while we're waiting.
Oh, would you recommend writing up a marriage contract or just go with whatever they have already for marriage procedure? And put all rights reserved next to your contract.
Well, it depends. So, a marriage contract between you two, that's going to be dependent on how you two see your relationship. Now, her status won't affect your status, but if you wanted to kind of join the two, you can create. These are all contracts. You can create any contract you want. So that's just, and that's in the Constitution. We shall make no laws impairing the obligation of contract. So anybody can contract. You can make any kind of contract you want. Now, you're talking about as far as the status goes. Your status, again, as Aboriginal here is your status. She would have to claim, like being adopted into a nation, or, basically that's what it is, like being adopted. Give me an example. Phil Jackson is a Lakota, a Native American. They adopted him into the nation. So you can always get pulled back, into a nation. Now, again, going back to the law, self-identification is the determining factor of this. So they can't tell you who you are. So they don't know if you have some type of, one of your great ancestors was an American Aboriginal, and you're claiming that. They don't know. So, and for anybody who's watching, I'm just saying, this is just how the law works. The law is, once you make a claim, the challenge is on the person, or the burden of proof is on the person challenging your claim. That's how it works. So remember, what is a presumption? Presumption of law.
It's what's brought first, and if it's not rebutted, it's presumed to be true.
Yep.
It's assumed.
Yep. So if you bring this to law first and say, yo, this is who she is, bam, 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 the burden of proof that she isn't that would be on the corporation. And remember, it's a corporation. They can never fight against you. That's the beauty of changing your status, because you're not fighting the person, a real person. You're fighting an artificial person who is masquerading as a government. And so they don't want that out in the public. So they're never going to come to court and show the fact and show that they're a corporation. It won't happen. You get somebody from the United States of America, Inc. representing you in court, that means the world about to end, or America about to fall that day. You get somebody in there from the United States of America, Inc. So that's kind of how you would want to work it. You can tweak the law once you know the law really well. That's why I say I implore people to know the law. It's not a static thing. The law is also based off your perception and how you're able to use it, and how you're able to get somebody to see your point of view by using that law.
Good answer. Thank you.
Sure.
And then I think Jason was talking about a DMV process, driver's license process. How would you go about that, other than signing all rights reserved?
How would you go about getting a driver's license?
Or renewing it, or recontracting with the license? If you have any answers on that.
Well, if your status has changed, it doesn't matter. The paperwork states that you hold their contracts under duress. So that means you're not obligated by it. So you can go get you can go sign any one of those contracts that they try to make you sign to be able to move freely in the system, and none of those contracts obligate you. So driver's license, passport, all the rest of those things that they make you get in order for you to move. Now, contracting on your own is something different. If you make a contract on your own that has nothing to do with them, that's something different. But any document that they want to make you, social security number, social security, like all of that, they make you have these things. You wouldn't be able to function without them within their system. So that's under duress. It's not your system. You don't agree to the system. They didn't ask you to. They didn't ask you to be here. So you're under duress. Therefore, you can have all those documents. Remember, man, you want to move. You want to be under the radar as much as possible, and be able to handle your affairs. We're not at the point to where you want to be battling the corporation like that. Not enough of us know the law. We don't have enough people who know the law well enough. We're all dabbling around in the law, but you need people who are super versed in the law to be able, before you can move as a unit. Otherwise, the weakest link, which is going to be a lot of them, because a lot of them are not going to be well versed, you're going to fall. So at this point in time, people should stop thinking about trying to come together as the nation and all that type of stuff, and just learn the law first. That's the very first stage. Again, if you were in basketball, it'd be take it play by play. Don't worry about winning the game. Don't worry about even winning the quarter. Win this right here. This play. And then before you know it, you stack those back to back to back to back, then you win the game. So, excuse me. Just make sure you're diligent in what you're doing. Will?
Yeah, my question was about the Moors you used to study with. Have any of them linked up with you to try to learn some of your techniques to help them with the ones they may have been short on?
I taught a lot of the Moors who I hooked up with. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Yafa Bey. She does etymology. She was one of the ones who was in the nation. There's other few cats you probably don't know about who they are, but there's a Tish, you know about Yafa?
You spelled to curse my people. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Yafa used to be at the house all the time, and when I was in that nation, I was the attorney general when we were doing the Aboriginal Moorish nation back then. I was the attorney general, and so I was teaching a lot of the Moors certain law, but I don't know how many of them followed up on it. The law to me, I love the law, so it's not really, I don't find it tedious and shit like that when I'm reading. I love knowing shit that other people don't know. Like, I love figuring shit out. I'm a problem solver. So you show me, the solution to the problem. I love it. And so that's where the law comes in. So most people though, they have a hard time sitting down reading this stuff. And so that's where you fall off. One of my exes, she was a lawyer from Miami. She went to Miami Law School. She didn't even want to be a lawyer. She was a social worker. She wanted to go to social work, but she had to take law to do what she wanted to do in social work with a social work degree. And her boyfriend at the time in Miami, he dreamt about being a lawyer his whole life. That's all he wanted to be, was a lawyer. So they're in law school together, and she didn't even like it that well, but she could understand the language. See, law is a language, and the better you understand the language, the better you understand law. And she was just a natural at the language, and so she could do it pretty easy, and he wasn't. He couldn't pick the language up that well, and so he flunked the first time while she passed. And then he broke up with her because he was jealous because she passed. He broke up with her because she passed. She became a lawyer before he did. But it goes to show you, just because you love something, you got to sit. He finally passed the second time, but you have to be diligent with it, sit and kind of, you know, and make sure that you understand what you're saying, because when you do, I'm telling you, man, I can't. Ciola, Ciola's in the class. She's a lawyer. She know. Tell her, Ciola.
I'm sorry.
How long
What
did-
did you say?
Tell them how good.
How long did it take you to learn the law of the language?
I'm still learning it.
Okay.
See, but you know, it's the law is so vast, though.
It is vast, and you're constantly learning because it's constantly changing.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's definitely constantly changing. So, you know, you want to keep abreast on the changes. This is one of the arguments I get all the time. Man, you ain't gonna never. Man, you learn that law. White people ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna never listen to you. As soon as you learn that shit, they gonna change it. Well, okay, well, learn what they changed it to. It's not like they're gonna change it and hide it under a mattress. They gonna change it, post it.
Yeah, they're gonna post it because they want their people to learn it. We just gotta learn it too. We just can't run from it.
Exactly. You can't give up. You still got to stick with it.
Exactly. Thank you. But that's one of the hard things that melanated people have is stick-to-itiveness. You know, we get hyped about some shit at the beginning, but then we find out how hard it's gonna be when we find out what the process is. We're like, oh shit. Like, man, that's what I get about a lot of times. How long is the status class, man? How long do I like, dude? Don't ask me, it's up to you. I got people who mashed out and learned this law in months, in a few months.
Tell them to sign up. Tell them to sign up for the Phoenix tier. They won't waste their time. Tell them to sign up for the Phoenix tier. they'll do their best to learn as fast as they can.
Yeah, they'll hurry up and get through that shit. They'll hurry up and
yes, sir.
But
yeah, I'll be at work. I'll be at work listening to the class. Like I cannot waste. Time is money.
He said time is money. But yeah, man, and also lost time. That time is you don't have time to get back. You know, that it's all the time that you could have known the law, and that you can't get that back. You know, so for me, man, I'm about freedom. I'm a natural fighter, so I'm about no one not having an advantage over me. So when I found out, you know, about, you know, the laws and how we were, you know, they had us locked up and, you know, contractually locked up and all this and that, I devoted my life to it because I'm not about you telling me what to do. This goes to the astrology tip. Anybody understanding Aries? Aries ain't about being told what to do ever, never, ever, ever. not even for not even a gram's worth. Nothing. You ain't gonna tell an Aries what to do. So when I found out that I was locked up and I wasn't free, I devoted my life to it. Tried to get the homies in. We created a contract with all the homies and said that we should be sovereign within 2 years, and I had everybody sign it. It was about at least, I think it was 13 of us who signed the contract. I was the only one who finished actually before the 2 years, but I was the only one who finished. Because I'm not, again, not about you telling me what to do. So if you bought it like that, you're gonna, you know, the information is gonna flow through you. You're tuning yourself to the frequency of what that information is, and it'll open itself up to you the more and more you want to learn it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, can I say this? Law school binds you because they keep you distracted with reading those cases and taking you away from learning what really frees you. So I must say, since being introduced to Kevin's class, I have learned so much more. Wow. And I'm not going to tell y'all how long I've been an attorney because it's embarrassing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm about to be free. So
absolutely. That's what we all need to get. We have to get, not need. We don't have a choice. Somebody else who got another question?
Hey, Kevin, this is Sharif. My fault, I didn't raise my hand, my bad.
No, good. That's good. That's cool.
You had a thing about the concentration camps in New York. That kind of you had a YouTube thing about the concentration camps in New York. They was talking about the concentration camps.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
I was wanting to know if you is that was it where could I get the information from that?
Oh, just go look it up. The bill is called Assembly Bill A416. New York Assembly Bill A416.
Assembly Bill A460. All right, thank you, man. Cause that was wicked. I live in New York. I live in Harlem, so
You better get on it then, because dude, it says any communicable disease. That's what it says. Not coronavirus. Any communicable disease, which by law means the flu too. Any disease that you can pass on to somebody else, they can lock your ass up for it. That's what that bill says. So y'all need to be on it. And I mean, you need to take it seriously, because who the hell you think they're gonna lock up first?
I might be out of here by then, though. I might get up out of here. I might nah, I'm out.
And the messed up thing, it's a nigga who invented the bill, who introduced the bill. That's the messed up part. This brother, this old coon brother, I forgot his name, Curry or something. It starts with a C, his last name. But man, he introduced the bill. Perry, I think something Perry is his name. But man, old brother, he like 70 something. Just sitting back. Yeah, we need to lock up everybody. Like what?
That's great. It said Assembly 16, right?
A416. Assembly Bill A, the letter A, 416.
All right, 416. All right, Assembly Bill A416. All right, I'm looking up. Thank you, Kev. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is crazy, but when they do it in New York, that means they're gonna try to do it everywhere else.
Yeah, man. New York is first.
New York is
I
first.
might be out of here, but
California or New York. California or New York are always first, and then every state follows California or New York.
Hey, Kev, I would advise, I apologize. I would advise everybody to look in their own states, because looking in Ohio, we saw a bill similar to that.
What?
Yeah.
Ohio got one too? Oh, it's going down, y'all. Oh, it's about to go down. Man, okay. They can't do it in California. The California Supreme Court ruled that they need to prove that you have a disease before they put you in quarantine. So big ups to my state. Everybody else.
Ninth Circuit.
That's Ninth Circuit. But that was California courts, the California Supreme Court, appellate court. So specifically, that doesn't hold any weight in anywhere else but Cali. All right. Other questions? Any more questions? Nothing. Come on, y'all. Now y'all saw the DMX stuff. Y'all see what happened with your boy DMX?
Yeah, DMX. He ain't overdosed, bro. I'm from Harlem. I always see a DMX. He wasn't even on drugs.
Hey, don't say. Make sure you say coded. He got the poke. He got the poke because he wanted to go.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say the word, but you know.
Yeah, he just got a coded. He got the poke before he wanted to go on tour. And there was a rapper who came out and said they had the paperwork. Showed that he did. Showed it. This female rapper said she had all the paperwork, the receipts, showed that he took it. And but what happened, when he passed, the day. So this is where you're going to get into your numerology and stuff like that. Nines, he passed on the 9th. Nines represent creation, universality, meaning the all, everything encompassed in one, or it means loss. And so whenever nines show up in numerology in your chart, that means either you need to be universal in your thinking, meaning you need to be giving to everyone, or if you're still focused on the self, you're gonna lose. It's gonna take something from you. You're gonna lose something. Like, and I mean lose something. I mean like your car gonna break down, your TV will bust, and something like that. You'll lose something like that, or you'll lose some money or some shit like that. Like that happens all the time. It's always some loss, and a lot of times it can be loss of life. So 9s represent loss. He died on the 9th. He died on April 9th, which is the 99th day of the year. And then right when Prince Charles dies on his 99, he died at 99 on the 99th day.
Prince
the
Philip.
9th day. Huh?
Prince Philip.
Yeah, Prince Philip. He died on the 90, he died at 99 or 99th day on the 9th. That was some ritual shit. That was absolutely some ritual shit. That was planned. Him to die at 99 on the 99th day on the 9th. Nothing like that is a coincidence. So what are they using this for? What is the ritual for? And so we got to figure it out. They always play the long game. So you see all these little short-term things that happen, but they always play the long game. Like they killed Kobe at the beginning of the year, but they did it for the conjunction at the end of the year. So we need to see what's going on. And obviously they use DMX's energy for something as well, but we need to figure out what it is. Samuel.
It's funny you said that, because that was the first question that I asked you at the beginning, that numerology.
Yeah, man.
I see too many signs. I got to get into it.
Oh yeah, and get into gematria too. Gematria though, I would say learn gematria, but don't take the gematria like it's a system, but it's a system that comes after the Moorish system of numerology. So, every culture came up with their little own systems. It works pretty well, but then a lot of times it doesn't tell the full story, gematria. So I would get a base understanding of all numbers 1 through 9 first, and then because then those are universal meanings.
Can you say that all those highlights of the number 9 again one more time?
What you say?
Can you say the positives and the negatives of number 9 again?
Oh, so 9 is creation. It's universality, meaning it's the all-encompassing, because 9 encompasses all numbers. So that's why melanated people, that's our number. Spiritually, we're the number 9. We're called the 9 ether people, and so because we encompass all that is. Every species that's in the world comes from us, just like every number comes from the 9. Add up
everything and no thing.
Yep, everything and no thing. Add up all the numbers together, it'll equal 9. If you add up all the numbers, they'll come out to 9. So, 9 is the most powerful number. It's the strongest number. It's the highest number in the universe. And so, but it's also because it's all encompassing. It's either creation or loss. You're either adding to something or you're taking away from it. And so how that plays out is dependent on whether you're on the higher vibration or your lower vibration. Everything has a higher and lower. So everything does. So the 9s usually play out in negatively, meaning in loss, because most people aren't spiritual and they're on some selfish shit. So their everyday actions just contribute to that energy, which means the 9 has to balance it out and take some shit away from you. Because if you're constantly focused on yourself, then why does the 9 have to do it? But usually when 9s come around, if you are selfless and you start a period of giving, as long as that 9 is around, you want to give. Whenever 9 show up, get into the giving mode. That's literally what that means. Otherwise, you're going to lose. So if you're going to lose regardless, whether you initiate the giving or the universe takes it from you. So that you don't lose what you don't want to lose, I would suggest you initiate the loss by giving. So, you know, get into your altruistic mode when nines come around, because that's the way to dissipate that energy from acting negatively upon you. So it's either creation, you know, universality, mean to give to the totality of the people, you know, or to everyone, or it means you're gonna lose. And I'll give you an example. Of this. Back when the Lakers were playing the Spurs. So me and you know, I'm on the Zoe show. I was on the Zoe show for a long time. Me and Zoe been friends for 20-some years. So when we were really into basketball, when Kobe was playing, we used to look up astrology cards of the players for the games. And so it was literally like looking up a hand at a poker. You can look up all the players and look up their cards and see if you had a good hand and who would win the game. And pretty much 80% of the time we were right. It was crazy. Only time we were wrong is we didn't read the cards right. So there's one game. There's one game they were playing, and I don't know if you're a sports fan, you will remember this game. So they were playing the Spurs. This is when Gary Payton and Karl Malone was on the team, and they were in San Antonio. Now we looked up the cards before the game. In that game, Tim Duncan had a 9 of spades that day. He was under a 9 of spades that day. This is a hard card too. The 9 of spades is hard. Nines are hard, but 9 of spades is real hard. That's probably the hardest card. So he was under the 9 of spades that day. They're playing, and I'm looking at other cards, and Derek Fisher, who was a Laker point guard, he was under the 10 of hearts. So when you read them, it said that Tim Duncan would experience some type of loss that day, like some type of great loss. And then under Derek Fisher's card, it said that he would have great success in front of a crowd. And I was like, so me and Zoe looked, we was like, oh shit, I mean, Derek Fisher gonna hit the game winning shot? We both said that. This was at 10 o'clock in the morning. We both looked at Jay. We was like, oh shit, Derek Fisher gonna hit the game winning shot, nigga? And so we started laughing. We were like, maybe not. So we just let it go. We watching the game. So we're not together watching the game. He was at his house, I'm at my house. But we're watching the game, and it's a super close game. One of the plays, it goes down where they're tied. The score is tied. And it was like maybe a few seconds left in the game. Tim Duncan gets the ball out by the 3-point line and just launches up this super long 3-pointer with Shaq right in his face. I mean, he couldn't even see the basket. He doesn't even shoot threes, but he hit this shot. It banked in. Like, he missed the shot by a long shot, but it banked in. And it was like 0.04 seconds left on the clock in the game. And the Spurs are up. Tim Duncan hits the shot. They like, oh, we gonna win. They're cheering up and down. They're gonna win. They're gonna go up on the Lakers 3-1. We're basically out of it, right? 0.04 seconds left on the clock. Now I'm like, we're looking at each other. He hit me. We're like, damn, we must have read the cards wrong. We was like, we couldn't possibly have read these cards wrong. So we was like, well, I guess so. The Lakers are gonna lose. So start the play. 0.04 seconds. They inbound the ball to Derek Fisher. He didn't even look at the basket. He just threw the ball up and it went in. With 0.04 seconds left, we jumped and we were like, oh shit. So again, Derek Fisher, great success in crowds of people. Tim Duncan would experience a great loss that day. Literally played out right to the last second of the game, but it didn't lie. So reading, understanding and reading, that's just one example. We used to do this all the time and call games. But, getting to astrology and understanding, learning to read energy and stuff like that will only help you to map out stuff, in the long term. JR.
Hey, I got a question. Hey, what's some of the best museums that you know of in the country? I heard you mention one about the Rosicrucians.
Yeah, that's San Jose. Yep, go to that one. I mean, well, it's Rona now, so I don't know what the the stipulations are to go, but definitely the San Jose museum. and also the LACMA, the Los Angeles County Museum. So of art, it's called LACMA County Museum, Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Or so that one has, they'll usually have Egyptian or Kemetan, excuse me, like displays,
artifacts,
but not just artifacts. They'll have a whole campaign, so it'll be like a section of Kemet that they'll bring all of this stuff from one part of Kemet, and it'll be themed this, or then they'll go to another part of Kemet and bring all of that stuff over there and just theme that. So it'll be there for months, like sometimes a year. Those exhibits are up for a year. But California, I mean, LACMA does great. It's great. And one time we went there when they had one. They had the statue of Akhenaten. They had the Akhenaten statue in the front, like the real statue, which is crazy. And so it looked like my homeboy too when we went in there. And then they had these tablets, the tablets of Nefertiti, where these tablets are like 4,000 years old. And so these are when Nefertiti is reaching up to the sun, and you can see the sun beaming down, and it looks like Ankhs. The rays of the sun look like Ankhs coming down. And so she's reaching up for it. And, we were in there one day, and I was looking so close to it. I couldn't believe my face was that close to it. And so I just reached out and touched it. I was like, wait a minute. It felt so damn good. I was just rubbing on it. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And I'm just rubbing on it up and down, and nobody saw it. Nobody said nothing. Yo, mute your phone if you just came in. So nobody said anything. So I turned to the homie. I go, Jamal. I'm like, Molly. He see me rubbing it. He runs over where he's like, oh, you can touch this shit? So he starts touching it, and we all touching it. And then one of my other homies came over and he started touching it. So then the security, she goes crazy. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. She starts screaming. She's going off. It's about, we went in there as a group. So it's about 10 of us, 10 melanated people, brothers and sisters, we all in there. And so she's screaming at us, going crazy. The museum stops. They start looking at us and shit. So then they got the curator of the museum. The curator came, and she starts explaining to the curator that we're touching the artifacts and this and that, and we're doing this. But they didn't have a sign up that said don't touch the artifacts. There was no sign that said don't touch them. So we explained that. We're like, well, you need to have a sign. There was no sign that said we can't touch them. So how are we supposed to know? So we explained this to the dude with all this. He likes our energy. Excuse me. He loves our energy. He thinks we're all spiritual and shit. He kicked her out. He made her go home. And said, you guys go right ahead. We just continued to touch every goddamn thing. Oh, thanks. Boop, boop.
Mind if I hold that on?
Huh?
You were like, mind if I hold that on?
Man, we was touching everything. It was a statue of this Kemetan lady with braids, and she was in this nice red dress and had a fat old booty. We was like, it was no denying that the Kemetans was melanated. I mean, she looked like a sister from the hood today. Literally with her hair all hooked up in a braid little thing. I'm like, man, this is off the chain. But LACMA and San Jose are the two I know. I don't, Chicago, the Chicago Museum. That's the one. That's another one I've been to. That museum is dope. That's downtown, in downtown Chicago.
Okay, appreciate it, man.
For sure. Ours bruh. Or ours bruh.
Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, hey, that was a dope story though. But I want to bring up some numerology since y'all was talking about that a little earlier. 17s have been coming up in my life for the past, I say 4 years. 17s without default. Everywhere I go, license plate in front of me. 17. I wake up, it's 717. Like, can you provide me any type of information as it relate to that?
Well, 17, what is the true number of 17?
Break it down.
1 and 7. 1
There
and
you
7.
go. That's 8. There you go. So that's the true number. That's the true number you're seeing is 8. So you got to figure out. You got to go and see what 8s, what the spirituality of 8s are. So it's infinity. It's the it also represents the universal, not like the 9. The 9 is all encompassing, but it represents like the universal as far, like I said, infinity, the never ending. It's another couple things. That was the other book that I had that breaks down the 8. But so it like I said, infinity, never ending, the continuity of the universe. But it's also one other thing that I'm missing. But get the book, the number days, your days are numbered. It explains that in there. But
okay.
The one I really want to give you though is I'm gonna have to put it like into the Patreon as a post when I find the book, and then you can just look in it there, because that's actually the real one that breaks down all the numbers, the spiritual aspect of it. Sacred. Man, I'm so mad that I can't find that book right now. But definitely Your Days Are Numbered is a real good one.
Which are okay, cool. Appreciate that.
Written because your days are numbered. So you guys know I deal with the card books, right? So the spades, the ace of spades, and all that type of stuff. So that's the cards of your destiny, or sacred symbols of the ancients. Those are the 2 books. So Sacred Symbols of the Ancients is the first book that breaks that stuff down. Excuse me. Then your cards of your destiny is Robert Kemp, and he took what he took to make his book. He took it from the ladies who made Sacred Symbols of the Ancients. And so one of the ladies' name is Florence Campbell, and so she wrote this book, Your Days Are Numbered. So that's why I say she wrote both of those, Sacred Symbols of the Ancients and Your Days Are Numbered.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that.
Show.
Hey, I never leave the house without that Cards of Destiny book.
Hey, you should get the app though. Just download the app.
The app's pricey though.
It's $3.99. Are you insane? What? Get the damn app. Yeah, $3.99. What are you talking about? He's like, it's pretty pricey.
I thought it was like $60 or something.
Oh man, the app is $3.99, bro. Probably $2.99 actually. It might be cheaper than that. Yeah, that app doesn't cost a lot at all, man. But then you can have it. You can always have it on your phone.
So if a person sees 144 all the time, is that a good 9 or a bad 9?
That's depending on you. Does the good stuff happen when you see it, or bad shit happen when you see it?
What's the number?
144.
144. That's always 9.
Hey, my experience, anytime I get a 9, it usually means you better let some shit go. Otherwise, because I get attached to shit, so.
That's
exactly. That's when it's ready gonna happen.
That's exactly what it means, E. That's why you have loss when you have a 9. It teaches you unattachment. You're so attached to everything in the universe. The dominant factor in the universe is change. So you can never be attached to something, because whatever you're attached to, it will change. And so you have to be prepared for that. So, the 9 is the hard lesson of change. Oh, you was used to that? You thought that was the universe? That was your end all be all? Nope, here we go. Let me get that. let me hold that for you. That's what the 9 does. Let me hold that for you, partner. You don't really want
the ending of one cycle into the new one.
You don't need that. Let me hold it. So, but the thing is, if you're not attached to what it is that the universe takes, then it's not a hard thing, because you were prepared for it. You understand? Or if you initiate the loss, like I said, you can begin to be of service when 9s are around, and the universe won't have to take from you, as a lesson, because you already know you already have the lesson. you're in you're literally engaged in the lesson. So the universe won't have to teach that to you. But yeah, work those nines, man. Those nines are hard. A lot of the people who I teach and I be talking to, when they see nines, they start sweating and shitting. When all these nines come around, I'm like, look, you got to calm down. You see that because you see it as a negative for you to lose something. But you know, it's a chance for you to learn and understand that, you know, whatever the universe takes from you, that you will ultimately, eventually, you can get that back and even more. Just, you know, if you're not attached to it.
That's good to know, actually.
I had a library. I've had many libraries. My first library was huge, and I used to let cats take books from me all the time. And then my books got taken. Like, cats used to just snatch and, you know, end up and just have books at home, just forget to bring books back and all that type of stuff. So I was like, all right, you know what? I ain't letting nobody get no more books. Like, I shut it down. You can come to my house, you can read books in the corner, do whatever you need to do, chill all day, read books, but you're not taking that book out of the house. That's still my rule to this day. However, there's a caveat with that. So when I was in that rule one time, I ended up in the nine of clubs for that year, for the whole year. That was my yearly card, 9 of clubs. So what that means is I would be it was a loss of knowledge, meaning knowledge, something was going to be taken from me, or I would have to be engaged into the distributing knowledge that whole year, right? Now, funny thing was, this is hilarious. I didn't tell anybody that because a lot of cats read the books. I told one guy that. I told Zoe that from the Zoe What Show. I told Zoe I was in the 9 of clubs. This fool, knowing that I was in the 9 of clubs and I had to give up knowledge, he kept coming over my house and getting books. Knowing that I have that rule that I don't give out books, he was like, "Oh, you in the 9 of clubs now, huh, nigga? Hey, let me get that book right there, cuz." Hey, that book right behind it too. Yeah, let me get that right there. Right there. No, not yeah, that one right there. So he was doing that the whole goddamn year. He pissed me off with it. I was so goddamn happy when my year was up and he asked for another book. Nope. You ain't, nope. Sorry, buddy. That year's up, baby. So you can have fun. What I'm only saying is because you can have fun when you start learning this stuff. You know, that was kind of fun for me, but it was kind of fun and wasn't, because, you know, I didn't tell anybody that I had to give up books, but if you came to my house and asked for a book, I just gave it to you without telling you why I was giving it up. I did that the whole year. I didn't say, "Oh, I'm in the 9 of clubs, so I got to give this to you." But I made the mistake of telling Zoe that when I gave him up one book. He's like, "Oh, nigga, you giving up books now, nigga?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm in the 9 of clubs. I gotta kind of give up." "Oh yeah, nigga, I'll be back." "I'll be back, nigga." So, you know, I would say,
Hey, let me know when you're back in that 9 of clubs.
nope, that will not be happening. Ours, bro. What's up, bro? You got your hand up?
My bad. I forgot the Lord. My bad.
That's all good. All right, we got some more questions before I go grab some food. Anything else, y'all? All right, so make sure y'all get ready for the police stop law class tomorrow. Because like I said, that's the most important thing to learn at this moment. You know, it's getting out there. That's the most important thing. I was really kind of leery about it at first, you know, not knowing if people really was gonna take to it and start learning the law. But it's people, you know, I think it's the time where people are tired of getting their asses beat. And not to mention, we're also in the age of Aquarius that we just moved into. So that adds a different energy behind, you know, uncovering the knowledge, the uncovering of the knowledge. You know, the age of Aquarius is about I know. And so now we're in that energy fully. And we're going to be in that for the next 20 years. we're going to be in
That's out to the Aquarius is out here.
Oh, get out of here. Yeah, so we yeah, we're going to be in that for the next 20 years. So you have a lot of power and energy behind your back to help you to manifest this knowledge and learn it. So use it. This is what we used to do back in the day. We didn't just take to a task without understanding how the stars felt about it first. So let's get back on that. All right, y'all. No more questions? I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow. Y'all sure? Before I get out of here. Before I get out of here.
I got a question. I got a question.
What?
What you about to eat?
Anyway.
Peace.
I'm gone.
Peace, brother.
Peace out.
All right,
Thank you,
Kev,
brother.
have a good one, brother.
All right, take care, brother.
Hey, you asked about the question. I just did that. All right.
Anyway.
I was going to ask the same thing. I ain't gonna lie. Turkey burger. Turkey burger.
Turkey. No, pizza. I'm gonna grab me a pizza.
All right.
Pizza,
Hey, with no sauce? With no
pizza
sauce?
is the one food you can eat every damn day of the week. Damn it.
Hey, with no sauce?
No, actually.
Yeah,
Without
you
the sauce.
said that. So we never mind. All right, man. Peace.
All right, y'all. Peace.
All right, peace.